Good morning everyone and welcome to sunny-ish Spain. Recently I made a post asking if you had any questions for me, and today I'm going to be answering those questions. Now the first question I was asked was, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right, this is a walking channel. Let's go for a walk and a talk. So a bit of a cloudy day here in Tenerife. It's about 24 degrees, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm in Adeje at the moment on the southwest coast. We're heading down to Los Cristianos. Now the first question I get asked quite a lot is just how the hell can I afford to travel so much? Well, I do have quite a minimalistic style of travel. That means on low budget airlines, hand luggage only, and I sit in the seat that they give me. EasyJet, Ryanair, Wizz Air, I really don't care, as long as it gets me there. The second thing that makes it easy is I work on the railways. I get cheap train travel, getting to the airport costs me nothing, and travelling abroad gives me discounts as well. The next most expensive thing after transport is of course your accommodation, and most of the time I negate that by sleeping in a tent or bivvy. And as I show in my videos, I generally eat food from the supermarket, so I'll find a Lidl's or an equivalent and just buy bread, cheese, ham, whatever else, multi-packs of croissants, that kind of thing, and just feed on those. So if you're willing to be flexible and you don't mind sleeping in a tent or low quality accommodation, you don't mind sometimes having to sit in the middle seat of an airplane, then you can travel really cheap. In fact, I would say the amount I spent recently on a weekend in Sicily would be about the same amount I would spend in 2 nights going out to the pub and going to a nightclub afterwards and getting a takeaway. I get asked a lot, what do I take with me on a wild camp? Well, that varies, but generally I would take obviously the bivvy bag, or in winter conditions I would take a tent. I'll take a sleeping bag. Sometimes, I didn't bring one on this trip, if it's going to be above sort of 13-14 degrees at night, then I won't bother bringing the sleeping bag. I'll just put my jacket on. I'll bring just a couple of changes of clothes and hand luggage only. And the other absolute essential, of course, is a sleeping mat, an inflatable sleeping mat. Otherwise, you ain't getting a good night's sleep. Where am I planning to go next? Well, my next book trip is in February until March, around 2 weeks, and I'm going to be flying to Tel Aviv, Israel, and flying out of Aqaba, I think that's how you pronounce it, in Jordan. So I'm really looking forward to that trip. Next question is from Donna at Donna's Adventures. I love your channel, by the way, Donna. So it's 2 questions. First one was, what's your favourite memory in your travels so far? And that's a difficult one. There's been so many great memories. I would say the first one that springs to mind is I've been living in Spain for about 6 months, and been working really hard at learning Spanish. And there are points where I felt like I just wasn't learning anything. Nothing was sticking, and I was working in this Irish pub, and this Mexican family came in, and we were chatting away. I hadn't been chatting for too long, but long enough, and then they asked me, what part of Spain do you come from? And that to me was like the ultimate compliment, you know. That it was like they thought I was a native speaker, and for me to think my Spanish wasn't that good, and them saying that just made me think, oh wow, maybe I am actually getting somewhere. And it gave me a bit more confidence, and gave me a sense of achievement really, that I was actually learning it and able to communicate better with people, and that gave me a lot of confidence. So I'd say that's definitely up there with my favourite memories. The next one from Donna is an embarrassing travel memory, if I'm willing to share. Okay, there's been a few down the years. some of which I can't repeat because it might end up in some of my friends getting divorced. So we'll just go with this one. It was actually only in London, in the Generator Hostel, which is a massive hostel. I don't know how many beds it's got. It must be hundreds, maybe even 1,000. And I was staying in a dorm with some friends. I think it's like an 8-bed dorm, and we've been out partying until early hours of the morning, and I woke up in the middle of the night. It was pitch black, and I was just wearing my boxer shorts, and I really needed the toilet. Now these dorm rooms don't have an ensuite. You have to go down the hall to go to the toilet, and I didn't know where anything was. I was half drunk. It's pitch black. I couldn't turn the light on because I'd wake everyone up. So I just thought, right, okay, what I'll do, I'll just leave the door on the latch, go to the bathroom and come back. It'll be fine. So I went to the toilet, did what I had to do. That was no problem. Then I had to get back to the room. Now the first problem was, obviously I didn't have my key. That was in my jeans pocket. I didn't know where my jeans were. The second one was, I walked up and down the corridor and none of the doors were on the latch anymore. The third one was, I couldn't remember which room was mine. So there I am, standing there in this hallway in my boxer shorts, not knowing which room I should be in, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, this hotel hostel has a 24-hour reception, so I had to go down to the reception at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, in just my boxer shorts with no ID, and ask them which room I'm staying in. Only the other problem was, it was booked in my friend's name. It wasn't booked in my name, so I had to ask which room was, I'm not going to say his name, booked in. And I'm just standing there in my boxer shorts looking like a madman. It was pretty embarrassing to say the least. They had to do quite a few checks, and luckily I knew my mate's date of birth and everything, so I could just say, look, here's the date of birth, here's where he's from, blah blah blah. Please can you just let me in the room, or I can just go and sit in the toilet for 2 hours and wait until he wakes up. I don't mind, either or. So obviously I didn't have my mobile phone, I couldn't text him or anything. In the end, the receptionist took pity on me and told me the door number, and I had to gingerly knock on the door several times before somebody actually woke up and let me in. But it was the worst 45 minutes to an hour of my life up until that point, and extremely embarrassing. Next question was from Jean from the Philippines, and that's, what's been your favourite learning from your travels so far? It's a great question. I would say overall, all the travels I've done over the years, I would say learning about people and how much we have in common, how similar we are. People are very quick to talk about differences between people, difference between their cultures and their ways of living, their beliefs. Generally people just want to get on, people just want a fair shake, people want to work and get rewarded for the work they do. They want to love, they want to have a family and their friends. So I'd say people are my favourite learning. I'm always learning from people. It may not look like I'm learning from people very much because I'm usually out in the sticks and the mountains and stuck in my bivvy, but I would say definitely you learn so much from people, and a well-known quote is, the world is like a book, and if you stay in the same place the whole time, you're only reading one page of that book. So the next questions are from Gabriel. Where do we travel now? Gabriel, by the way, you've got a great channel, but you need to upload more, man. We need more of your videos. So your first question, who's going to win the World Cup? Well, we're at the quarter-final stages at the moment. By the time this video goes out, it'll probably be over. By the time I've actually edited the video and published it. So quarter-final stages, my heart says England, of course. We've got France on Saturday. It's going to be a massive game. I'd like to say we're going to win it. If they've got Mbappe playing, going up against our defence with Harry Maguire in there, it's going to be tough. I don't know. I can't see us with our defence against Griezmann and Maguire really keeping a clean sheet against them. It's just not going to happen, I don't think. So my heart says, yeah, England are going to win the World Cup. We're going to beat France, we're going to beat Portugal, and then we're going to beat Brazil or Argentina in the final. Can't see it. So heart says England, my head says Brazil. Next question, Gabriel. Am I planning to do some non-solo trips? Well, yes, I like traveling with other people. In fact, I never used to travel without other people. I never used to solo travel until a couple of years ago, maybe. Just after sort of lockdown kind of time, I realised I was approaching 40 years old, and there's so many places in the world that I haven't been to that I want to see. And most of my friends now are grown up and married, they've got kids and responsibilities, and they can't get away like I can. So last year, well, this year 2022, I've done one trip with friends, a week hiking in northern England. I don't really like to vlog with other people around, so believe it or not, I'm quite sort of self-conscious about vlogging. In front of people, I just feel uncomfortable, especially friends, and if I'm having to do multiple takes, then I just feel like a bit of a tit, quite frankly. So to answer that question, yes, but I probably won't be vlogging. The next question from Gabriel was, how about naming 3 countries you've never been to or would love to visit? Great question, Gabriel. Only 3. I could probably name 103. Alright, this is going to be difficult. My first choice then, now I want to visit every country in Latin America. I love the Latin American culture, the lifestyle, and all the nature and the people and everything of all the countries, but I think if money was no object, my first choice would be Costa Rica. Costa Rica just has so much nature, biodiversity, cloud forests, volcanoes, Pacific coast, Caribbean coast. Just looks like an amazing place. Just a shame it's the most expensive place in Central America, but that would be number 1 on my list if money was no object. Now I have to be quite careful on this beach. It's the top of this beach and I don't want to give YouTube any reasons to give me a ban. So country number 2 would be New Caledonia. New Caledonia, the colonial French island in the Pacific Ocean. One reason, the main reason I want to go there is one of my best friends lives there, Pierre. He's French, as you've probably guessed, and he's a chef. He goes out, he's got such a great lifestyle. He goes out in the morning, spearfishing and getting fresh food, and then cooking it up in the afternoon for his guests. Just looks like an amazing lifestyle. We said I'm welcome anytime. The only reason I haven't been there is it's so far away. It couldn't really be any further away. I'd have to fly to either Tokyo or somewhere in Australia and fly another 5 or 6 hours from those places. So it's on the list, but again, money and time just get in the way. One day though, one day the dream is to get out there. And before I give you country number 3, here's a few that almost made the list, but not quite. Colombia, Cuba, Argentina, Nicaragua, El Salvador, the whole of Latin America, Iceland, Norway, Australia, Philippines. Oh man, there's so many. If you ask me the same question another day, you'll get 3 different answers. But my country number 3 that I'm going to give you now is Indonesia. Indonesia I want to go to for not just Bali like everybody else, but the main draw for me is Komodo Islands. I really want to see the Komodo dragons. I don't know why, but they just look so cool. They're just badass. I just really want to go to Komodo Islands and Indonesia as well, Java, Bali. It looks like an amazing country. Next question is from JB with a mushroom emoji. How you doing, JB? Top 3 countries that I visited. Number 1, oh, I just got splashed. Number 1 would be Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka was my first long haul destination when I was 21 years old. I went out there to do voluntary work for 3 months, and it's just such a culture shock, just completely blew my mind. The country was going through a civil war at the time, and I went to work in an orphanage, and you would think these kids who've lost their parents, growing up in poverty and in a country that's going through a civil war, you'd think they'd be quite miserable, wouldn't you? No, they were the happiest people I've ever met, and it just completely changed my perspective on the world. So Sri Lanka is absolutely my number 1. It's a beautiful country. It's jungles, mountains, amazing coastline. It's just a fantastic place. Loads of history as well. If you ever get a chance to go, I'd fully recommend Sri Lanka. Country number 2, right here, Spain. Spain I moved to when I was 24 years old. I moved to Madrid. I had hardly any money in my pocket. I left my job in England, and I did a short teaching course, teaching English as a foreign language. Ended up working in a pub and teaching and doing other various things whilst living there in Madrid. It was amazing just coming from a small village, going to a big city where I didn't speak the language, and there were just so many opportunities opened up. People were so friendly, and it was just amazing. It's probably the best 2 years of my life living there, and I can't say enough good things about Spain and the Spanish people. Come back pretty much every year, pandemics permitting, and yeah, I just love Spain. Alright, country number 3. That's difficult. The first 2 are obvious, but this one's pretty difficult. So I could say Thailand, I could say Mexico, I could say Vietnam, Brazil, Guatemala, Italy, France, Croatia, but I'm going to go with the UK, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It's a great country. There's so much to see, so much to do. I love the pubs. There's so much to do in the UK. You've got the mountains in Scotland and Lake District in Wales. You've got London, one of the greatest cities in the world. You've got massive coastline, forests. The food gets slated a lot, but come on, the English breakfast is hands down the best breakfast in the world. And yeah, I love my country. It's got its problems. The weather isn't the best, but the people are very friendly generally, and there's a wealth of opportunities. There's so much to see and do. I mean, I've lived there 39 years of my life, and there's still loads that I want to see there. So yeah, the UK gets into my top 3. So next question is from JB. Hey up JB with the mushroom emoji. Worst 3 countries I've visited. So this is very subjective obviously, and I would say there's only one country really that I wouldn't go back to. Somewhere that I had such a bad experience is kind of put me off. That's Morocco. I went to Marrakesh on a week-long break. Went to the Atlas Mountains, went to some waterfalls called Uzut and to Essaouira on the coast. And everywhere I went, it's just hassle all the time. It's a beautiful country and there are some good people there, but it's just so many hustlers, so many people hassling you for money, trying to sell you stuff all the time, and it's incessant. It's the minute you walk out the door until the minute you get back in. It's a relief when you shut the door and get back to your hotel or your riad as we were staying. So Morocco would be not the worst country, but certainly somewhere that I wouldn't be in a rush to get back to. That's the first one that springs to mind. Alright, so I'm going to cheat a little bit with the next one. The next one isn't a country as such, but it's a very popular tourist destination, and that's Las Vegas. Controversial choice maybe, but it's just not my scene. I've been 4 times in a previous life as a flight attendant, and I won't lie to you, I had a great time pretty much every time, especially the time we went for Independence Day. That was amazing. We got a pink stretch Hummer and went out on the town, had a great time, but it's just not somewhere it's not really my scene, you know, going out to casinos, theatres and nightclubs, spending a fortune, glitz, glamour, neon lights. Yeah, it's just not really my thing. If I was ever to win flights to Vegas for a week or something, I think I'd just as soon as get to the airport, hire a car and go out into canyon country. That's more my kind of thing. My last choice, for similar reasons, and it's also a very popular tourist place, Dubai. Again, I know it's not a country, it's a city, and I'm cheating a little bit, but I don't want to write off the whole of the UAE because I've only been to Dubai. But yeah, just not my kind of places. I find it very sterile, tacky. You can't get anywhere on foot. You have to have transport to get around, and everything's just the same glitz and glamour. And you know, no history. It's just not my kind of thing, you know. It's people who like it, that's up to you, you know, that's your prerogative, but for me it just doesn't interest me at all. I've spent 4 days there after spending 3 months in Sri Lanka, and it was complete contrast, you know. It's like going from an ancient civilization and very poor country, going to a very rich country, well, city that was only 30 odd years old at the time. Did have fun there. I went out on a sand safari in the desert. That was good, but yeah, I just found it very sterile, very boring, and everything just man-made, concrete. That's just not me at all. So this, my friends, is the end of Los Cristianos beach. That was the end of the questions, and therefore this is the end of the video. Hope you've enjoyed coming out on this little stroll with me. If you have any more questions, please feel free to drop in the comments. And from Los Cristianos, Tenerife, hasta luego amigos.